Everyone, it's Sunday, September 8th, time for another HideNet Weekend Review. I'm Vera Dordick. The Shanghai Fair is now behind us, and most everyone who attended is back home except for a smaller proportion of people who are still traveling to see customers. For the U.S. market, activity at the fair as well as back home was pretty much the same as it has been in the past few weeks. Some sellers reported moving quantities of steers, as well as cows, by the way, but it was not a booming week by any means. Packers were able to generally keep prices steady, with a few selections seeing 50 cents to $1 better, but likely on small volumes. With regard to heavy Texas steers, few sales were reported, and the prices were steady with the previous period at $28 for 62-64 pound averages. With regard to U.S. slaughter, the total for the holiday shortened week is estimated at 565,000. With just over 100,000 head attributed to Saturday's slaughter. That's the highest Saturday slaughter in more than a year. Combined export sales for the week ending August 29th were just 300,000. In fact, for wet salted hides in the month of August, sales were not more than 350,000 in any week. Combined shipments for the period were 578,800, which is better than they have been, but still below slaughter. In our observations this week, we review the opinions on the fair and the level of business from a global perspective, so you'll want to read that. And I want to take a minute to mention some of the other significant events at ACLE in case you didn't catch up on the daily videos. First, the U.S. exhibitors were honored to have a visit by U.S. Ambassador to China, Terry Branstad. He toured the U.S. booths and spoke with many sellers about the economic situation and the status of their business. On the same day, the U.S. HSLA held the first ever leather fashion show at the Jumeirah Hotel. It featured leather products produced in the U.S., used professional models in production, and it rivaled any runway fashion show. More than that, it was a really important step toward the types of events and marketing that has to be done to make leather relevant to the younger consumer demographics. Turning to Europe, our European report is back in regular publication now, and editor Andrea Guolo reports that cows are stable at this point, while bulls are steady but face a good deal of uncertainty in the future. For 36 plus UK ox, prices are at 75 cents in pence, but slightly higher prices were achieved for smaller, high-quality selected lots. For some other selections, the restart of production has seen some good work, so for certain sectors, the outlook right now is quite positive. In his analysis for the week, Andrea looks at the factors involved in the restart of business after the holiday, including the requested price increases, order levels, and the upcoming round of fairs. Moving on to South America, editor Ronald Guiel reports from Brazil that indications from ACLE were not all negative for the Brazilians. Raw hides were unchanged for the week in terms of price, while sales of TR1 were reported between 48 and 50 cents per square foot. There were a couple of major news items involving Brazil this week, including the announcement by H&M that they would no longer source leather from Brazil. But after speaking with some in the Brazilian contingent at ACLE, we hear that the percentage these companies actually source there was quite small, so it's mainly a symbolic move by the brands, at least at this point in time. The other news is that August exports of hides and skins for Brazil was up slightly from July, but it was still down by 25% from last August. All the details are included in our Latin report this week. In news from elsewhere in Latin America, Argentina's leather production was down in July. Mexico had a successful edition of Sapica, and the footwear prices continued to decline in Uruguay. So that's all we have for today. So until next week, good night from HideNet.